Remember the friend I've told you about a few times before? He's quite a liberal guy. We've known each other for years since we were kids, so we've stayed friends. I've told you a few times before about how I've messaged him, make sure he's got food stored up, because he's got kids, you know, he's married, he's got kids, and he only keeps 2 days or 3 days of food at home in his kitchen. And I've told him over and over again. Well, I've just got a message from him, and I thought, you know what, I've got to get straight on camera and record this, because it was just so funny. Hey buddy, you know you were telling me about the foods to buy that will last for a few years. I can't remember what you said. It's called something like extended life food. He's going to be watching this, by the way. He's going to get annoyed after this. Can you send me that list again, please? I just saw your video about what President Biden said, and it is a little bit strange, isn't it?
With regard to food shortages, yes, we did talk about food shortages. And it's going to be real.
If you think migration has been a problem in Europe from the Syrian war, or even from what we see now, where do you see 100 million people for whom the entire food production capacity has collapsed?
Yeah, it's a little bit strange. This is the stuff I've been talking about for a long time. And now it's starting to come to the forefront. I was talking about this 2 years ago with those Great Depression diaries, and now people are starting to pay attention. So because of that, because I got that message from him, I thought, okay, I better go to the store today and just make sure that I'm, topped up on my food supplies. So I'm just going to pop out now to a couple of stores. I'll show you some of the stuff that you probably want to hold for really long-term storage food items. These are some of the stuff that will last for years. They're not expensive either, and people aren't going to accuse you of being a food hoarder and you're stealing from other people, because this is the stuff a lot of people won't buy anyway. All right, pretty much anything like quinoa, lentils, this will last a long time and it's not that expensive. So the date on this is September 24, so you got a good 2.5 years easy. It'll probably last a lot longer than that anyway. So I'm going to grab a load of these barley, which lasts, again, November 23, so a long day. And actually, it'll last a lot longer than this anyway. And look how cheap it is, £1.10p for a whole bag. That's really cheap. £1.50, that's cheap. Now, another good item to get is tuna chunks, because these last a long time, especially in oil. So these, let's look at this date. These ones last until 2026, so June 26. So these have got 4 years on them, and tuna's about to go up in price as well, so it's good to get some now. Look how quiet it is today, just no one about. You would think with all the food shortage warnings people would be out, but no. All right, the other one then is jams. So jams are a really good one. They last for a long time, give you some sugar, but avoid these ones. Like, it says low sugar, reduced sugar. Sugar's a really good preservative, and it keeps your food lasting a lot longer. So I'm going to grab some jam as well. Honey is another good one, especially if you can get raw honey. So they got some offer on here, so I'm going to get some honey as well. And by the way, honey lasts a long time. Sometimes they've got short dates on them, but they actually found honey in the Egyptian tombs, in the pyramids. So just think how many thousands of years old that was. And it was still edible, according to the archaeologists that found it anyway. It says best before June 2026. That's more than 4 years on that, but I think it will last a lot longer. So far we got some honey, loads of tuna, some lentils, barley, and then just a couple of other items I need for the house, like tea bags, some eggs, sugar. You always want to have loads of sugar, and that's it, and a little bit of bread. Oh, and by the way, don't just leave the food in your garage or your shed or something. Make sure to put it in a box like this. So this is a pretty solid plastic box. If you don't, trust me, you will regret it. I've heard stories, crazy stories before, about people going to grab their food and mice and rats and all sorts have got in it, and they've just eaten through it and the food's no good. Here's another thing that you can get. Just easy cook, long grain rice. Not too expensive for a big bag, and that'll last you 2 years. One thing I was looking for today, which I couldn't find, is this. So this is powdered milk, or they call it dried skimmed milk. What Kristen does, by the way, she puts the date, so June 2023. So she puts dates on pretty much everything. And she also has an app on her phone. She also has a paper system so she can keep track of everything. But this stuff can last as much as 20 years. Now, it's probably not going to say that on here. Yeah, they say the best before date is June 2023. But I know that powdered milk can last for absolutely years if you get the right kind. And then she's got some other stuff stocked up in here. I don't really like this Stockwell brand, so I don't drink that tea or have that chocolate spread or anything like that. But she keeps a lot of it just in case. Some of this stuff will get donated to the food bank as well once it gets closer to the time. Another thing we've got a fair amount of is olive oil. So I use a fair amount with that in my cooking. So we've got 6 bottles of that, especially because there's expected to be an oil shortage in terms of cooking oil. And this is just another cupboard that we've got with food that we eat on a day-to-day basis, a lot of beans. This is quite healthy. Now, I'm not a lover of Tesco, by the way. It just so happens that Tesco is the main supermarket. There's a couple more that I go to as well, but we just so happened to grab a load of stuff from Tesco last time. And then again, this is stuff that we eat through on a day-by-day basis. We got a lot of fish in there. So a fair amount of fish and tuna and some other fish there, as well as fish in the freezer. The good thing about this island is that the reservoirs are fully stocked with fish, so you can catch fish if you're a fisherman. This is one of the things that's really important people don't talk about enough. Salt. You've got to have some salt. It's really cheap as well. And then this is one of these containers, so I just pulled this out because this one hasn't got much in it. It's got some pasta and things like this. Again, this lasts a very long time. Really cheap for a bag like that. But make sure you got a good plastic container for it. And then in here again, we've got some more grains and things like that. All right, let's wrap this up now then with some final pointers. My wife Kristen has made a list of long life foods and food staples that she thinks you should have in your house. So we've put that in the description below for you so you can look at that. But this list is not exhaustive. That's the key thing. I was actually really surprised by the amount of people that were in the supermarket today. Usually it's a lot of people, but today there was hardly anyone in there at all. And I'm noticing this more recently when I'm going to the supermarket. Maybe it's just the times I'm going, I'm not sure, but there seems to be less and less people, and also sometimes there's less food. So we talked about this before. Obviously you're getting shrinkflation, you're getting them, but the main thing they're doing is they're taking the food items, and where there might have been 5 or 10 different types, now what they've got is 2 or 3 types, and they're spreading them right across the shelf. So I definitely saw a lot of that today. I did see a lot of gaps, but I don't know, maybe it's just today. I went later in the day. That might be it as well. They restock overnight. So I'm definitely not seeing any major food shortages right now, but all the warning signs are there. All the data is there. Even the politicians are talking about it now, telling people to prepare for it. So look, I'm not telling you to rush out right now and, stock up and just empty the stores or anything like that. What I did today, I went around several different stores. I got different items from different stores. And one of the points that I want to make is that you can store a lot of food. You really can get a lot of food, and it usually lasts a lot longer than the dates that you see in the supermarket on these packets. But actually, if you look at, say, World War II, for example, and you look at Britain and what the government advised there and all the guidelines, what people used to do, everyone grew their own little vegetable gardens because it didn't matter how much food people had stored up and stocked up. If things go on for a long period of time, you're going to run out of food no matter what. So this part of the message is for my friend, because I know he's watching this. He always does. I would say, especially with children as well, why not make it a hobby, make it fun to actually grow your own vegetables? You don't need to get a greenhouse and all that sort of stuff, but why not start supplementing your diet with some vegetables that you grow in? If you have a garden, if you have outdoor space, why not start growing a few vegetables? Start, preparing and planning for this stuff now. Because what is the worst case and the best case scenario here? Well, look, if nothing happens at all and everything's fine, the food supply isn't interrupted, and everything's just been blown out of proportion here, well, the worst that's happened to you is that you've supplemented your own diet, you've taken up a hobby, you've learned a little bit about growing vegetables, you've got a little bit healthier and you're doing some exercise with it, but you're growing your own fruits and vegetables to supplement your diet. I mean, I don't really see a downside to this. And if things do really go badly and there are food shortages and there are a lot of problems, well, at least you've got started, you've got some food there that you can supplement. So overall, I can't see any downside to doing this, but that's all I've got today. I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care, God bless, see you soon.